Season 4 Reloaded from Modern Warfare Zombies just released, and within this update we got a new Dark Aether. I made a full video strategy about how to get through this Dark Aether and make it super easy. In part of the strategy, it's how you insta-kill the last boss, and I've seen other people make videos about the same strategy, but they are giving the wrong information, and I've seen it multiple times, so I wanted to make this video and correct it. I'll also show you guys a tombstone tip you can use inside this Dark Aether, and then we went in and tested the crossbow in this arena, and I'll show you guys how well that did and how well it did against the final boss. Then finally, I want to show you something that's going on with this Dark Aether. You can get some massive XP and you don't even have to get any zombie kills. Like, I'm not sure what's going on, it might be broken, but right now it's pretty awesome. The first thing I'm going to cover is the wrong information that's going around right now, and this is going to save you guys a little bit of trouble. This is about how you can insta-kill the final boss on wave 5. All you need is the RGL grenade launcher plus the deadwire detonator schematic. So you just have to consume that, and it's going to put this dead wire effect on all of your explosives. That is what is insta-killing this final boss. Some people are saying you need the Jack Thumper, which is the aftermarket part that you have to do challenges to unlock, and that is not true. You absolutely do not need it. If you have that conversion kit unlocked and you're using it, that's fine, but you definitely do not need it. I had 4 games where I came in and insta-killed this boss with just the RGL and the detonator. I don't even have this conversion kit unlocked and available to me. I had made a video a couple of weeks ago talking about the previous Dark Aether. This same boss that's in this one is in the other one. And I made a full video talking about how you can insta-kill it. You gotta have this RGL with the detonators. And when I went into this new Dark Aether, I brought that RGL and detonators in because it's great for crowd control. And I just got very lucky that this boss was in here as well. What I've noticed on multiple runs is to kill him as fast as possible is you want to be above him, shooting down on top of him. So we typically will perch up on this roof right here. I make sure that those grenades are firing down on him, and then that electrified splash damage is what instantly kills him, as you're seeing right here. And if I go back into my menus, you can see I have no conversion kit ever unlocked. So after this Dark Aether was released, we went in and did a bunch of runs and did some more the next day, and we've learned more stuff, so that's why I'm making this video. And as I mentioned in my previous video, they block the ability for you to be able to tombstone out of here. So what they've done is, if you drink tombstone and come in here, it'll remove your perk from on screen, and then it will put an actual tombstone on the map. You are able to interact with it, and it will always give you a random power-up. I wanted to test if you were to activate the tombstone and get the power-up, would the power-up sit there for as long as you needed, or would it go away? Right here, I had my tombstone on the map and I activated it. I got a vest and I just let it sit there until like round 4 or 5, and it stayed there the whole time. So yeah, this definitely does work. So a good strategy would be definitely buy tombstone, drink it before you come in here, and then have the tombstones on the map, have everybody in the game activate theirs, see what power-up you get, and then save them for when you need them later on in the game for like an insta-kill or a nuke. The next thing we wanted to test was the crossbow. We knew the RGL with the detonators insta-killed the final boss, but could you do the same with the crossbow and the explosive bolts? The deadwire detonator schematic is supposed to be applied to all your explosive equipment, and the crossbow has explosive tips. So we're like, well, let's put the explosive tips on the crossbow, let's add the deadwire detonator and see if it will melt that final boss in the same way that the RGL and deadwire detonator does. Going back to the RGL with the deadwire detonator, what it's good for is crowd control. You can electrify and kill large amounts of zombies, and then it's obviously an insta-kill for the final boss in round 5. But what it's not good for are the bosses that come during these waves. Like, it's absolute trash against them. During these 5 waves, you get a lot of mimics thrown at you, manglers, and then you get a boss at the end of each wave, and the RGL is just absolutely terrible against all of them except for the final boss. But what we found with the crossbow is that it is so good against like the mimics that they throw at you, the manglers. That Stormcaller comes in at like round 3 or 4 or something. He's such a pain, but this crossbow just rips them apart. During these 5 waves in this arena, they absolutely dump mimics on you, and I feel like those are the most challenging enemies to deal with during this. They're able to like grab you and throw you around, and they're just annoying, and we were looking for a weapon that just takes them out instantly, and the crossbow was the answer. So we went through wave 1 through 4, and we used the crossbow to kill almost all of the elites and the final bosses on each round, and we were thinking, well, it's doing so good. Let's see how it does against the very final boss on wave 5. If we could melt the final boss with the crossbow in the same way we can with the RGL, then we wouldn't have to worry about the RGL. We would just bring in that crossbow because it's so good for everything else in this arena. And we tried it, and unfortunately, it does not work in the same way that the RGL does with the Deadwire detonator. I was shooting the final boss point blank, and it just wasn't doing anything. If it had been the RGL, this thing would have been dead. But I did end up grabbing the RGL from BBK, shout out to him, and finish off the final boss in seconds. What it seemed like to us, and we could be wrong, but whenever we put the Deadwire detonator on and the explosive bolts with the crossbow, didn't look like the detonator was affecting those bolts whatsoever. So the strategy that we would recommend, and one that we use, is to have at least one person with the crossbow, and they'll be responsible for taking out the annoying mimics, and then also quickly eliminating the bosses at the end of each round from round 1 through 4. Then just have one player with the RGL and the Deadwire detonator, and their job is to do crowd control with the zombies. They can take out lots of zombies in one shot, and then they get to insta-kill the final boss on round 5. Now we even go beyond that and use the Scorchers, which is imperative in here. We just stay in the sky with the Scorchers until the final bosses come in, because this is a time-based arena, not a kill-based. I made a full breakdown video about that strategy and how we do it. That video is right before this one, and I'll also have it linked in the description. Last thing I want to talk to you about is this massive XP you get in this arena, and there's a specific way that you get it. For some reason, the player that is the one to eliminate the final boss on wave 5, the way we've been doing it with the insta-kill, is awarded like over 3,000 zombie kills. And that is a lot of XP. Right here in this game, I was the one to kill the boss, and it gave me 3,811 zombie kills. I barely killed any zombies in this entire game. Like the main map where you have to get some kills before you come into this Dark Aether, I maybe killed like 100 total. Definitely not 3,800. But I have done this Dark Aether arena like 4 times, and I've always been the one to kill the final boss, and it always gives me like 3,000 plus kills. In these 4 games, I ran it with Tag 935 and BBK. Again, I'm the one that killed the final boss, and their kill count was normal. Like they got 300 to 400 kills, and it definitely wasn't 3,000. So something is up. I definitely want to check this out more and try to understand it. Maybe this is normal. Maybe it's a glitch. Maybe you guys know like what could be going on here. Maybe I've completely missed something. But still, to be awarded over 3,800 kills is a ton of freaking zombies. That is the equivalent of going to round 45 solo and zombies. But hopefully this will help you guys out, and we'll see you next video.